It's an honor to be here, and I'd like to thank Economic Times for the invitation. And I'm going to start with some thoughts about last week's World Economic Forum, which I know that a number of you attended. And it was different. It was different because I felt like the sentiment in the group meetings was more negative. There were lots of questions about geopolitics, about China's real growth rate. But frankly, in the middle of all this, a little bit of pessimism, there was a ton of optimism about India. Everybody wanted to know what we really thought about India, and could India be as good as it looked from the outside? My answer to that question was yes. If I think back 5 years ago, all the discussion was about the BRICS. Today, 2 of the BRICS are on life support, and India stands tall. I think about our experience in India, which goes back 100 years. Today, we have 20,000 employees. All of our businesses are represented here. And we're very proud. 400 of our newest employees work in a new multimodal manufacturing facility that we've built over the last couple of years in Pune. This is an important facility for us in the country, we think, for a lot of reasons. It's a diverse workforce. We're extremely proud of the talented women that we have working as engineers and on the shop floor. And we export 50% of what comes out of this plant outside of India. So the true test, when you think about Make in India, is what you do in India that supports the local economy and the economy of the country, but also what you can do in India that's competitive on a global scale. And we think Pune is a great example of that. So from our perspective, lots of favorable tailwind and opportunities in India for us to invest, and none as important as the rail modernization deal that we participated on successfully at the end of last year. Make for India is fit for purpose. It's exactly what this country needs. Manufacturing is the underpinning of a strong economy, but it's not the only underpinning. Digital India is also an important initiative. We live in a world where we believe that all industrial companies will become digital companies, and many digital companies will become industrial companies. It's either going to be a convergence or a collision, and it's up to us to figure out which path we choose. But from where we sit, the priorities that this government has placed on manufacturing and the evolution of digital technologies are exactly right if you want to win in the 21st century. So from our perspective, as a company that's been around for 100 years, India is open for business. But it's not like there isn't more work to do. The frictional costs of doing business here are still intimidating at times. Taxes, paperwork, permitting processes, all of that can be improved, and we know that the governments are working on improving it. My point is, the work still has to be done. And we can't compare ourselves to where India was yesterday or last year or the year before. The benchmarks are global. So when we think about the cost of doing business, we have to compare ourselves with the best countries out there. When we think about speed, doing it faster than we used to do it is only one benchmark. The real benchmark is whether we can do it faster than everybody else. When you do that, you win on a global scale. And I think that's the mission that India is on. There is a lot of capital, I think, still sitting on the sidelines, waiting to be tempted to invest in India. The right pricing signals, the right market signals in oil and gas and other industries will create more foreign direct investment, and there are companies lined up to do it because they see the market and the potential for India. So we think, from the perspective of General Electric, and I think the perspective of many of the companies that are represented in this room, that India is open for business. Now is the time, and these governments at the federal level, at the state level, are ready to do it. Thank you for listening.
The second edition of the Global Economic Summit, presented by Economic Times and Airtel, was also host to a high-powered panel discussion on manufacturing. Titled "How Will Manufacturing Boost the Economic Growth of States?", the panel saw leading CEOs of India Inc. come together to debate issues close to their hearts.
Across the table, there were several points about ease of doing business in India. Now, the point I wanted to emphasize was many of these issues are getting resolved every day. Prime Minister reeled out so much data yesterday. He talked about, obsolete laws, one a day he's trying to repeal. So, the point that has to be understood is the change in the ease of doing business is happening every day. And I touched upon one sector, and that is FDI in Make in India, to explain how this change is coming about. 2016 promises to be bringing the largest FDI inflow into India. I mentioned a large number of companies which are coming in to take advantage of the large market that we have. Large number of countries are coming in because of the FDI opening up that has been announced. And therefore, I'm quite hopeful that the manufacturing sector will get its due share in the years to come.
Basically, my perspective is that the consumption or the demand-led growth in food, processed food, will go unabated. And therefore, it's a no-brainer because income levels are going up, and it's known, it's a no-brainer that the consumption will go up. Because it is not just for the Indian consumer, but considering the fact that we are the world's largest milk producer, we're the second largest fruits and vegetables producer, very soon will become the first. Fact is that if we don't improve our factors of production and improve our productivity, you will only open the market for someone else.
Welcome to the Global Business Summit, Mr. Gupta.
Thank you so much.
What are the key initiatives that the state government in Uttar Pradesh has in place as far as industrial infrastructure is concerned?
Well, since the new CM has taken charge of Uttar Pradesh under his leadership, we had been working threefold. Number one, the infrastructure component of it. Second, the policy framework. And third, the ease of doing business. Threefold attempts and priorities have been finalized and focused, and many things have been done since 2012, after he took over the charge. Infrastructure sector, we have developed road networks, metros, and the new townships, industrial townships especially. I'd like to name this Lucknow-Agra Expressway,
Yes.
metros in Lucknow and other cities like Banaras, Kanpur, Agra. And we can mention the industrial township like Transganga city in Unnao, Sasti High-Tech city in Allahabad, Naini area, Plastic city in Auraiya. We are also thinking of perfume park in Kannauj and food park in Bareilly. And so many other things are happening in Uttar Pradesh, IT city in Lucknow. And it has been supplemented by EDFC, that's the Eastern Dedicated Freight Corridor. 18 locations which are coming in Uttar Pradesh, they have been declared as industrial areas, and we will be developing them basic infrastructure for the freight corridors as such.
Okay. And you just spoke of the Agra-Lucknow Expressway. How soon can we see that really into action, and what's the sort of business interest that the state is getting because of this particular expressway?
This expressway is going to be a major lifeline for Uttar Pradesh, and it will be connecting Lucknow to Delhi straight away in a shorter span of time. It is a 6-lane access-controlled expressway, expandable to 8-lane in due course. And it is 300-kilometer long expressway from Agra to Lucknow. And land acquisition has been done. You can say almost 27,000 registries has been done in a record time, and without any litigation. No litigation for the land acquisition component of it. Lakhs of cubic meters of earth has been acquired and put in position. Earthwork is almost done. WBM work is on, and we hope that by the end of October 16 or maybe November 16, the road should be available for public.
Right. And as far as ease of doing business is concerned and making the whole environment more investment friendly and conducive to business, what are some of the policy changes that the UP government is looking at?
The crux area lies in making the system online and transparent. Technological inputs have been taken care of by all the departments. All the things are being put online now, applying online, status monitoring online, and finally delivering of the results and services online. Secondly, the procedures have been simplified by the Commercial Tax Department, Labor Department, Pollution Control, even Energy Department, and all the relevant departments have been taken care of this, and they have simplified many procedures as to make the things simpler in Uttar Pradesh.
Right. Power and water have been two key concerns of industries in the past in Uttar Pradesh. What are you doing in that regard?
Water has not been an issue in Uttar Pradesh, but power, yes, it used to be, but the things have changed after this new government has taken care of it. We are putting in additional production capacity, generation capacity in Uttar Pradesh. I think by 2017 we should be self-sufficient in supply of power.
Right.
Not only generation, we have also taken care of evacuation and distribution as well.
Right. And a few words about the ET Global Business Summit that you're a part of.
Yes, I fully appreciate that, and ET Global Business Summit round 1, edition 1 was very good, and that encouraged us to bring us UP to become a state partner for edition 2 as well. I'm sure this will bring in betterment for Uttar Pradesh.
Thank you so much. Thanks for joining.
Thanks.
Welcome to the Global Business Summit, Professor Charan. You often get the insider's view of various CEOs, various leading companies around the world. When you look at India's top CEOs, what are the qualities that stand out for you?
Well, first, I'm honored to be here. Second is that I don't really have a full-fledged feeling of what's going on. I interview some people, meet some people here, and they're fully capable people here. And as the context of the Indian economy, the government's opening it up, taking initiatives, it brings more liberation to the leaders of the industry here. So I see more partnership going on. I see more imagination going on here. So I have said many times that our leaders of companies can run any large global enterprise, but open up the constraints. And the Modi government seems to me that they are opening up the constraints.
Right. And what do you think of the current entrepreneurship ecosystem in India? There's a huge startup wave that's happening. As a result, there are also many more unsuccessful businesses for that matter. So would you say there's a herd mentality of sorts happening?
Well, I think the key here is that, and this is something people can learn in places like United States and Israel, that any initiative like this opens the hope for a lot of people. It liberates their energy. And as the energy liberates, you have phase 1, you go to phase 2 to phase 3. And that will make an innovation economy. And in any of these things, we will have some failures, some successes. And we build this system where we can do more mentoring of these startups. So I'm very clear on it that its major impact is liberation of the people's hopes and liberation of people trying. And over time, it's going to develop. America didn't develop in one day. Silicon Valley took some time to develop. Israel is doing it some time to develop. We're starting, it's the right thing to do. And when we begin to move, we're going to see some more and more mentors coming in who will do that, like Harsh Mariwala does in Marico. And that is an important part. And Silicon Valley people don't understand, if they are not there, it's not just the money, it's not just the risk-taking. They are mentors who really make these things happen.
You coach some of the best minds in the world today. What sort of learnings do you take back from these interactions?
Oh, my learnings are huge. One of the things I learned from many of these people is what are the major challenges they're facing. Because it's confidential, it's one-on-one, and they share it. And so I have a challenge to figure out how can I help them. And second thing is that I learned some of the new techniques they use or new things about their leadership they use. And so it helps me learn what's happening. So my interaction with these people is both suggesting ideas, becoming a sounding board, but also at the same time, I see what's on their mind.
Right. And there has been enough said about data-driven approaches to have a successful business. But going forward, do you believe that a value-driven approach will work better?
The people have to define both of those what they are, the labels. The getting the facts is very important. They don't eliminate to use the sixth sense above the facts. But having no facts and just using the sixth sense could be very harmful. Now, very few facts exist about the future. But if we have the facts now and you know how to dissect them, what the underlying drivers are, then you create hypotheses in your mind what to test about the future. So the data analysis expands and extends your capability to make better decisions. They don't substitute it.
Right. And you are going to be talking here at the Global Business Summit about creating the DNA of disruptive...
Of a digital enterprise.
Creating the DNA of a digital enterprise.
Which is the disruptor.
All right. So given the scenario here of tech-driven startups, what are those key takeaways or key parameters that they need to keep in mind to create a disruptive DNA?
Yeah. If you're talking the startups with the digital DNA,
yes,
then the most critical thing is to be able to visualize and in a specific excruciating detail what is the end-to-end customer experience. Don't worry about designing the quantitative platform. If you don't do this one right, the rest won't count. That's what makes Amazon so successful, Alibaba so successful, and the ones coming in India will be very successful.
But isn't that true for any enterprise, the creation of a good customer experience?
To do the digital side of it requires excruciating detail in different behaviors. And that's where the people who don't succeed, they fail in doing that. They had at 50,000 feet the slogan, but not because the computer needs the right details.
You have in the past partnered with Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev, and you've run camps for CEOs. Why did you choose to partner with Sadhguru? What stood out for you, and what were these camps about?
I think I got a call from a CEO of a company to see Sadhguru, and then I met him, and he wanted to start this. I thought a very good thing to do for India. So I helped them design it, conducted 3 sessions, and then I said we need to move on to get some new ways to do it. And I learned a lot about what the kinds of people coming in here, how enthusiastic they are. It's a very good service.
All right. And going forward, are you looking at doing more such activities here in India?
I don't know because I'm spread all over the world. So tonight I'm going to China, and then I'm in Brazil, I'm in Japan. So I get to see in my life a diverse source of changes.
Right. And you're talking about your travel, and that brings me to Ramcharan, the person. And there has been a lot of writing around that. It's always intriguing for all of us to know you as a person. You still don't feel the need to slow down or to settle down, or never
Juice
felt
of
it?
life is learning every day, every day. If you learn it, convert it into some knowledge, and you will always be alive until the physical health gives up.
And still no inclinations towards having close people around?
No.
Happy to live alone and travel and get your clothes FedExed to
They
you?
still get FedEx.
That's wonderful to hear. And as far as the Indian e-commerce startup ecosystem is concerned, what are the do's and don'ts that you'd suggest to startups?
Yeah, I think the minister, Mr. Sinha, very clearly laid out, which I thought was very progressive, that we got to create our own ecosystem to reduce cost and speed and bureaucracy. And we can scale it up to 6 billion people. This is a very positive moment.
And going forward, what are the Indian sectors and, for that matter, which are the Indian CEOs that you would put your bets on?
No, my view is that we need to increase FDI, which they're trying, and we need to increase non-raw material exports. We should set targets for market share. FDI, we should set a target of share of FDIs in the world. The largest still is the United States.
Right.
And so then we say what is required, and then we do the targeting, and then work backwards from there. Which industries we should compete and gain share. So we need the analysis for that. I have not seen it. If we have it, great, but we cannot go to all industries.
What's the most challenging aspect for you as a consultant, dealing with these bright minds and these?
Oh, my challenge is very simple, is that I need to figure out what is relevant for them.
That's the only challenge.
That's the only challenge. And if it is not relevant, I can't help them.
True.
So I'm not the person who will tell you the theories. I don't do that. Mine is what is relevant and how can I help you? And if I don't know the answer, I say, fine, I'm not going to waste your time.
And you work 365 days a year.
Correct, absolutely correct.
What do you do to unwind? Do you do anything to unwind?
This is it.
All right, so a TV interview would possibly be your unwinding time. All right, and people say Ramcharan doesn't smile too much. Is that true?
No, that's incorrect.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you so
Thanks very
much.
much. Thank you.
I think the digital revolution is a fantastic opportunity for the Indian IT sector or the IT-enabled services sector. For years, we have been doing this work for the various global customers of ours, and today is a fabulous opportunity that we can do for our own country. However, one of the things that comes to my mind is that whatever services we provide, it cannot be technology or services in isolation. We have to think about some very innovative, disruptive business models and provide business process as a service to the various stakeholders within the country as part of this. So we have to look at digital disruptive technologies. We have to overlay processes on top of it, and then we have to provide business process as a service. Opportunities are immense. What's happening is that we need to contextualize the innovations to these opportunities. So let me give an analogy to you. For example, when the multinationals came to India with soft drinks, with automobiles, they were actually surprised with the kind of price sensitivity that Indians had. And at some point of time, they were not able to offer those kind of prices, but then the prices dipped, and today the consumptions have risen for those items or for those products that they were selling. Similarly, when we bring an innovation like a Google map and take it to a village where a villager knows every nook and corner of the village, then that is no use. And so hence we have to contextualize the innovation. For example, how can we enable farmers to manage crops better, or understand about weather better, or how can we enable them better logistics using technology, or how can we help the elderly within our country, the illiterate within our country. So to me, technology is not a barrier at all. It's just the imagination that we need to have. If we have a great imagination, then I think the art of possible is immense.